Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to go over the second stimulus check update and stimulus package update. I also want to dive into a $1.4 billion government mistake. I also want to address why we possibly might see stimulus checks. However, it won't be anytime soon, and there's a reason behind that. And we're going to get into this unemployment crisis. If you currently are on unemployment or you're worried your job will not be there in the coming months, I'm going to address that as well. And lastly, at the end of this video and also down in the description box, I want to address a video that I did where I show you how to turn $1 into $300 today. So if you want to go and watch that video, it will be one of the links down in the description box below, and I will also address this at the end of today's video. So let's jump into today's video. Now, what is this $1.4 billion mistake that I'm referring to? Well, the federal government accidentally sent $1.4 billion in stimulus checks to people that were no longer living. Yes, that's correct. They sent checks to dead people. Now, the worst part about all this is that the government is now trying to get those checks back. They're trying to retrieve, whatever you want to call it, okay, get $1.4 billion back in federal money. Now, I understand the reason why. They issued checks to people that were no longer, here with us, and now their family members are holding on to these checks, or some people have already cashed them and even used them, and I get it. They thought the checks were for them. Maybe they still have a bank account in that person's name, in that family member's name. And so they went, deposited the check, it cleared, and they used the money. I get it. And the government's trying to get that money back. That's a big mistake. That's a lot of money. $1.4 billion is a lot of money. But to make matters worse, they've also issued checks to people that were in prison. And here's the problem with that. When somebody's in prison, their check gets sent to a family member, or maybe it goes into their bank account that they still have opened. It might go to their last resident. And if that's the case and a family member goes and cashes it, there could be issues there as well. So there's a lot of issues surrounding the first stimulus check. Now, if you haven't received your first stimulus check, you need to go and call the IRS. Here's their number. Let me give it to you. Their number is 800-919-9835. That's their number, okay? So make sure you go and call that and figure out, where is my stimulus check? Now, don't call this number at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You need to call this number between 8 and 10 a.m. 8 and 10 a.m. is the time that you need to call, and that's Eastern Standard Time. Do not call it at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, because 10 a.m. is going to be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So because that, you might not get a hold of anybody. All right? So just want to be clear with that. Now, I also want to say a couple things. People that are on SSI, SSDI, you may have a card that you normally get your payments on. Okay? If that's the case, the IRS has stated that that should be where your payments were going. However, they might have gotten mixed up, and stuff just happened. There are errors. There are people in the IRS that make mistakes. And if that's the case, they'll just send you a paper check. But in some instances, you have to call and get this all sorted out. So again, it's a huge headache. But if you want your stimulus check, that's what you need to do. People in Puerto Rico, other places like that, they are slowly getting their checks. They have been issued according to the IRS, so hopefully you'll get them in the next couple weeks. Now, there's a lot of talks about the second stimulus check, so let's address that. There is a bunch of issues going on right now where multiple senators, both Democrats and Republicans, are coming out and saying they're not truly in favor of a second stimulus check for multiple reasons. But the main reason why many Democrats and Republicans are not in favor of a second stimulus check is because it helps now. However, it creates more issues in the long run. As opposed to not issuing a stimulus check would not help anybody now, and it would create less problems in the long run. And I get it, it's true. And it's true that releasing $300 to $500 billion in stimulus checks will cause a slight inflation. However, I would gladly pay a little bit more, in the next few months or 6 months or a couple years to ensure that I'm still alive in 2 months, 6 months, or even a couple years. And so that's where they have this completely backwards. They need to think more about the now. How can we fix things now? How can we ensure people are healthy? They have food on the table. They have a roof over their head. They can pay for medications that do cost money. How can they do all this stuff? Well, you need to issue a second stimulus check. And in all honesty, $1,200 is just not enough for the majority of people. Okay? There's been many studies already done and reports that say over 75% of Americans have already spent all their money. Okay? And most people spent their money within the first week of receiving it. That's huge because the first stimulus check was sent out, we're in June, so 2 months ago. It was like in the middle of April. So it's been 2 months since these people have had any money, any income. So because of that, they are really hurting and they're behind on so many bills. Now, can you do me a favor? If you enjoy these videos, if they're helpful, if you like these stimulus check updates, can you do me a favor and just hit that thumbs up button? Just by hitting that thumbs up button, it tells YouTube this is a quality video and you should share it with others here on the channel. Now, I still believe that we will receive a second stimulus check, and I think one is coming. However, we should know more about this in the next couple of weeks. So probably within next week and the week after, we should have some more insight as to, is there going to be a stimulus check? What are the possibilities? How much might it be? When will it be coming? All that stuff, right? And many media outlets have stated that their sources tell them the Senate is mainly looking at two things when it comes to the next stimulus package, which is going to include the second stimulus check. Those two things are going to be the June jobs reports and virus cases moving forward. Those are the two things that they're really looking at. Now, I get it. The June jobs reports, it's going to be a big deal. However, it's going to be very misleading. Now, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I'm not some highly educated, person from Harvard or Stanford or wherever those guys come from. However, I am fairly educated, and in my opinion, I think that the virus case numbers should be a higher priority for the Senate than the jobs reports. And this is the reason why. As of right now, okay, just listen to these numbers because it's crazy. As of right now, as of today, or actually as of yesterday, there are still 20 million Americans that are on unemployment. Now, that number is a huge number, but that number doesn't even take into consideration the amount of people that filed for unemployment and were denied. So really, the true unemployment numbers are higher. Now, here's the good news. Getting millions of Americans back to work is fairly easy. All you gotta do is open up the economy, let people go back to work, and things will be good. The unemployment numbers will come down. The jobs report is going to look incredible. But here's the problem. Just because you get, let's say, 10 million people to go back to work, there's still an additional 10 million people that are not working. And the problem is more and more companies are going under as more and more days pass. Okay? That's huge. Just recently, Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve stated that he believes as many as 14 million jobs might never come back. Now, that's big. Just yesterday alone, Macy's, okay, if you don't know who Macy's is a big retail chain. Macy's said they are going to lay off 3% of their workforce. That is over 3,000 employees. That's just one company. That's just Macy's. What if one company does this every single day over the course of a month? That's a lot of people losing their jobs instantly. Now, I understand that through this pandemic, there will emerge companies, new companies, that now are creating new jobs. However, let's just do the math. Hey, let's just do the math, because the math does not lie. If you remember in a video that I did a few days ago, okay, and even on Monday, I was talking about the new infrastructure bill, which is expected to pass next week. Now, this new infrastructure bill is expected to bring on about 1 million new jobs. So let's look at the numbers, because again, the numbers don't lie. Jerome Powell says there are as many as 14 million jobs that may never come back. 14 million, okay. But the new infrastructure bill should introduce 1 million new jobs. 14 million, okay, minus that 1 million, that still leaves about 13 million jobs. Okay, 13 million jobs will never come back. That is huge. Those are huge numbers. And that's going to impact the economy. That's going to impact every single American. Okay, that's you and I included. Now, like I already said, the Senate Republicans mainly are waiting on the June jobs reports to see what kind of stimulus package they pass come July. Now, the June jobs reports should come out, I believe, it's the first couple days. It's probably going to be like the 2nd of July. Yeah, I think it's the 2nd, because then I believe that's a Thursday. Anyway, so it should come out next week, or in 2 weeks on the Senate, or on the 2nd. Okay, so here's what we need to understand, is if it's a weak jobs report, then chances are the next stimulus package, which would be phase 4 of stimulus, that package should be closer to $2 trillion. And again, this does not include the infrastructure bill, which they're trying to pass, which is like $1.5 billion or $1 trillion. Now, if the June jobs reports is strong, we are looking at a lower stimulus package, probably in the neighborhood of $1 to $1.5 trillion, possibly even less than $1 trillion. So it's really not good, because here's what I think is going to happen. I'm pretty sure this will happen. I can almost guarantee the June jobs report is going to look promising. The Senate is going to look at that number and be like, wow, that's good. We're doing a lot of great things. Which, yeah, I think the economy was looking, promising for a little bit. However, over the past week, we have seen multiple states with record high cases. Okay, record highs. Texas, Arizona, Florida, Tennessee, those are just to name a few, have seen record numbers. And here's the problem, is we are going to see those record numbers probably extend for the next week or two. So the June jobs report is going to look promising. However, as more and more cases come about, what's going to happen is the economy, those states, are going to slowly shut down. For example, Texas is slowing down their reopening. Florida is doing the exact same thing. So because of that, even though the June jobs reports is going to look promising, more people are going back to work, as some of these restaurants and bars and hotels, all this stuff, they're operating at like 25-50% capacity. The problem is they're going to realize very quickly that they are not profitable. So what happens as a business if you're not profitable? You send your employees back home. They go back on unemployment, the numbers go back up, and this all starts over again. Now, here's the reason this is a huge problem, because it's all misleading. All these numbers are misleading. And this is the reason why that not only myself, but others feel, and when I say others, I'm talking about some high-level officials, but mostly media outlets, feel that what's going to happen is the Senate is going to look at these numbers come July, come the middle to end of July, look at all these numbers and be like, I don't think we can make a decision on a second stimulus check yet. We should wait and see what the July numbers look like. Well, here's the problem with that. If they wait until July, the Senate will then go on their summer recess, and they won't come back into session until September. So what it looks like, if these numbers are very misleading and the Senate comes out and is like, well, we need to get more information, we need more data, we just don't have enough to really make this kind of a financial commitment to the American people, it could look like that we don't receive a second stimulus check until September. Because trust me, I almost guarantee, I'm about 95% sure we will receive a second stimulus check. But again, I don't know when. I'm hoping as early as the first week of August. However, it could look like it gets pushed into not August, or not the end of August, but like the first to middle of September. So there's a lot of issues there. I get it. I just want to be clear with you guys. This is kind of what's going on. There's more going on behind the scenes that nobody really sees. And until all the numbers come out, until the Senate really, tries to negotiate and tries to figure out what is going to be best for, the economy, and to keep people healthy and to give people the money that they need to survive, we really don't know anything. Now, I get it. You're frustrated. You're worried. I need money. I need it now. So here's what I want you to do. A lot of people have reached out thanking me for showing them new ways to make money from home and online. So what I want to do is I put a link down in the description box below where I show you how to turn $1 into $300 today. If you have any questions on that video, make sure you go and watch it. But if you have questions, you can always ask your questions on that video or come back here and ask your questions down in the comment section below. But hopefully I answered a bunch of your questions. Hopefully this second stimulus check update and stimulus package update frees up some time and gives you all the information in just one place. But again, if you have any questions, always ask them down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed today's video and you learned something, you felt like you were educated today, make sure you smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys on the next one.